Welcome to 2019. And the good news is, so far, your success rate is 100%. You've done something right to be here. So as much as we might have had difficult times, and undoubtedly 2018 was a turbulent and difficult time in different ways, but one way or the other for all of us. So yes, you've done well. So don't forget to pat yourself on the shoulder. You somehow make it two. You somehow made it through, you survived, you're still here, and that must count for something. We very often lose sight of how far we've come because we look at what we still want to do or where we still want to get. So let's not forget about that. Now, this time of the year is all about New Year resolutions, words for the years, themes for the year, manifesting this and manifesting that, and get your vision boards going and all of that, which is all good and nice. Nothing wrong with being prepped. But let's not get carried away with it either. All of those things are tools. And if we plan only where we want to be end of the year, or in a week or in 2 months' time, once again, where we are not is here. This is the only space and place where magic happens. Last year, this year, next year, any other year. Time and space only exists in this moment. So let's not get carried away with like, oh, should have, could have done that different in 2018, and this year got to be better, so I better make sure I've got a business plan, I've got my holidays planned, I've got the study plan up, and the kids need to be up and running. It's all there. It's all based on assumptions. And have a plan, and then come back to the here and now, because this is where it all happens. This is where we feel the stuff. This is where we experience the stuff. We get carried away with either being in the future with the plans or in the past, beating ourselves up over should have, could have, why didn't I, should have seen it coming. That's not where it happens. And again, we're not here. So all this planning is great, and I'm not saying don't do it, but don't forget to bring it into the here. And with all the planning for 2019, I wish for you one thing, and only one thing. And me being me, I'm going to obviously break it down in 100 things. But I hope in 2019 that you finally choose yourself. Not the neighbors, not the kids, not the vacancies, not your jobs, not your roles, not your name, not your reputation, but you. Why are we running and carrying on the way we do? Why are we exhausted? Why we question ourselves? Why we are not in sync with who we truly are, which is absolute perfect piece of universe in this physical body. This is who we are. Now, what we're saying is like we're doing all those things, trying to prove something through doing, being, achieving, showing, masking, going, whatever, planning. We've got a million plans. But we don't know who feeds it. That's you. We know what the kids want, the neighbors want, the boss want, the friends want. And if I ask people, hey, what feeds your soul? We go, because that's the place where we hardly ever at. We somehow feel we have to prove our worth, that we have to, and it can only be due to outside actions. That's why we can't find it inside, because it ain't there. We're looking at the wrong places. Now, are these people important? Of course they're important, but they're never more important than you. It can't be. You can't feed the entire universe without feeding you. So for 2019, I really hope it will be you on top of your agenda. When I ask people, what are your blessings in life? They give me anything and everything. 99% of the times, what's not on the list is themselves. It's the kids and the car and the job and the husband and this and that, wife, whatever it might be. But it's always outside. That's not your main blessing. They're wonderful, precious add-ons. But that's what they are, or it is. So for 2019, I hope you stop putting other people first and learn that it isn't selfish at all to choose the person that's looking back at you in the mirror. Because that's the person you're the harshest with. That's the person you judge the most. This is the person you love the least. And this is the person that needs you most. That's you. There's nothing to prove out there. The universe decided it's a darn good idea to have you here. Who are we to actually question that? We see it in everyone, in everything. Kids, dogs, again, everything. Not us. Because we somehow in our mind less. The universe decided it took you, and you to make this universe go around. And if any of you would be missing, it just wouldn't work. We don't see that. Why? Because we're not here. We're everywhere else. We never had as much depression, anxiety, breakdowns, cancer. And what is cancer? You're dissecting yourself because you're harsh with yourself. You love the world, but you don't love yourself because you don't know how you work. You don't know who you are. You haven't taken time to treasure, appreciate, love, and celebrate yourself. Yet we do it freely with others. So 2019, I hope you're giving up on your idea of having to be perfect, complete, or proving something. Because you know what? All it takes is for you to show up. You're already pre-approved. You're here. Fact is, you're here. You don't have to run the gauntlet in order to get a stamp of approval to come here. You are here. You've somehow done that already. Nothing to prove. I hope you stop settling and selling yourself short and go and claim your crown and wear it proudly and do not apologize for it. Even if we do know we have a crown, we keep it safely tucked away in the back of the cupboard because, other people might look at it as me being full of myself. It's your crown. Wear it. Know it. If you don't know who you are, you will never know who anybody else is. It's impossible. It's impossible. I hope you stop living according to some calendar, some to-do list, feeling fulfilled when you mark off a few ticks, but you haven't lived. We do all those things, we tick all those boxes, we feed the kids, we fill the car with fuel, we do all of that, and at the end of the day, we go like, and me? And off we go and repeat it again tomorrow. You have your chosen. I hope on your list of priorities, you stop putting yourself second and learn taking care of yourself and loving yourself will automatically feed any and every relationship around you. You can't feed out there and nothing is left here. Energy is an inside-out movement. What you have, you automatically bring to any and every situation, relationship. And then it's a natural thing. You don't have to work on it, make it happen, go to 500 counseling sessions, because you are that. And with that, you automatically bring it. The problem comes in when we try to mold ourselves and other people's expectations. You can never win that. You can't win that. I hope you let go of anger, resentment, disappearment, and fear, which are nothing else but really attachments. That's nothing it is. The brain attaches a thought, and then it attaches a feeling, and it becomes that feeling. And then you identify yourself through it. That's not you. That's your attachment, and that comes from fear of not being good enough, not being worthy enough, not being loved enough, for some reason not being enough. I hope you learn to stop looking for love and outside of you that you think you can find fragments of yourself in there. It's not out there. You are love in a human body, and this is it. It can't be found out there. It can complement you, it can feed you as well, but it cannot create it for you, just like you cannot create it for others. You can naturally vibrate like that. It's for them to be open to it, do their own work, and meet you on that level. I often hear, if I love him or her enough, he or she will be okay. No. If she loves herself enough, she will be okay. You can administer the medication, but that person needs to take it and work on it. You can't do it for someone else. You can walk with them, but you can't walk for them. We spend 90% of our time walking it for everybody else. Who walks ours? Only we can. I hope you learn to say no to some people and situations who simply don't deserve your attention or time anymore. We have this thing, we can't say no because we're not allowed to deny everybody else anything or anybody else anything, but we can deny ourselves. Energy can only ever be two things. It either feeds you or depletes you. If it keeps on being toxic for you, no is your remedy. No is like, I love myself enough to not do that anymore. Because the moment you keep on contributing to a toxic environment, even if it sucks you dry along the way, which it has to do, it cannot work any other way. You're not feeding yourself nor the situation, because no one wins, no matter how it's sold to you. I hope you learn to choose people who really push you forward and then only gain due to you being there, for no other reason. Not for money, not for any kind of advantage or whatever, just simply because it's you. How many of those do we have in our life? Or is the moment the benefits of me being there wears off, so do they? That's not an investment. You wouldn't put your money there, so why on earth would you put yourself there? We're way more stingy with money than we are with ourselves. That's a bit back to front, but we're all doing it. I hope you learn you don't always have to be the one doing everything by yourself for everybody else, and learn to let people take care of you sometimes. Because very often it's not like it's not there, but we don't allow it. And sometimes we've got to put our foot down and say, the rules have just changed. There's nothing wrong with that. Only because we do something for 10, 15, 20 years does not mean we can't change the rules. We would all still be sleeping in caves otherwise if we wouldn't have. And that's what we tell everybody else, but we just don't apply it for ourselves. I hope you learn to let go of things and environments, jobs, habits, belief systems, patterns, and people that are draining you. It doesn't mean you bad or they're bad. It just means it's not your frequency, and you cannot get another result from it. Minus and minus doesn't always give place. So what drains you cannot ever be that, and does not mean that there is bad intent behind it. But that person is walking in a very different path. It's just as valid as yours, but it doesn't mean it's yours. I hope you learn to take a step back for yourself and not allowing fear of missing out to consume your life. Switch those phones and gadgets off and start communicating with yourself. It is crazy nowadays. People, kids, no, all ages. They're out in public, in a public restaurant or wherever, even in the movies, whatever it might be, and they're on their phones. You being available 24/7 is somehow doing what for you besides stressing you out, getting your blood pressure going, not allowing you to sleep, and all of those. It's not feeding you, so it depletes you. And most of all, it takes time away to be with you. And we all do it, one way or the other. We all do it. I hope you learn to stop playing the victim card and blaming others when you are the one who has complete control of your life. Always did, always will, and all your power has always been inside and not outside. And I don't mean victim card in a bad or in a judgmental way. But how often do we say, oh, so-and-so is really horrible for me, and they are really not really serving. We keep on going back for more. And as long as we sit with that, even if the intent is good, we putting ourselves in victim situations. And as long as we stand in that space, we are in reaction mode and not in action mode. We're not in creating mode, but in survival mode. And that's not a room for growth. Again, both sides can't grow. And most of all, I don't stand in my power. The moment I'm a victim, something has been done to me, and it means out there is the only tool that can change that. No, it isn't. It wouldn't be there if you wouldn't have either created, allowed, or fed it. But as long as we are in the victim mind, and we're often not even aware we are, we cannot access that power. I hope you learned that taking care of yourself isn't a waste of an investment, but where all your energy should have been in the first place. You can only give what you are. You can only bring what you are full of. So when people tell you you're full of yourself, say thank you, because you're doing something right. Because we're full of everybody else, never of ourselves. That's where the confusion comes in. It's no bigger compliment out there, being full of yourself. So 2019, please be as full of yourself as you can be. Own it and sparkle up that crown and wear it. And if people know what is your motto, I want to know what's the motto for this year, I'm going to be full of myself and the world will notice. Why? Because it's your natural state. Being full of everyone else is where the whole thing gets out of sync in the first place. I hope you choose people who support your dreams and goals and don't try and stop you from achieving them because it doesn't suit their agendas. You need to have the people around that have the pom-poms in your hands. They're not quite sure how it's going to work, but it will work. They have no doubt that you can do that you will be at the finishing line. Running, crawling, jumping, it doesn't matter, but you will be there. And they will scream their lungs out till you're there. They might not know why, but they will do it anyway. Those are the kind of people you need. You don't need to want, oh, but did you think of that? But I don't, you see, overshoot. Let's rather play it safe. Safe is where we are now. Are we happy? No. So safe is not what we want. Growth is what we want. Because that's our birthright. And I hope most of all, when you choose yourself, you're doing it for you. Not to prove someone wrong, not to prove a point, not to prove your worth. Choose yourself because you should have been your number one all along. What you are, you can give. The fuller you are of yourself, the more you can give. So investment is you as your number one investment and always will be and should be. Very often here, especially from moms, but Shane, my kids come first. No, dear, do not. I normally get shot down for that because I don't get to say the next sentence. Of course, they are important. But a child can only be ever as happy as their main caregivers are. And if they're out of balance, no matter if we work another 10 hours to give them another new toy, it ain't gonna make them more valued. It's not that. We need to teach the kids especially that. We're already having difficulties with it. And in the world the kids get in nowadays, how are they supposed to figure it out? I hope you forgive yourself for mistakes. I hope you forgive yourself for blunders. We all made them. We all will still make them. But you know what? It's called learning. If the intent wasn't bad and we made a mistake, take that, move on. Don't stay there and flog yourself for should have, could have. You know what? You didn't. Now you know. Off you go. Don't remain in that space and make that your story. I lost a company 5 years ago. I got divorced 10 years ago. Now I really shouldn't have. You know what? You did. Move on. This is growth. It's not about not being loving and caring, but you're not loving and caring to yourself. It's part of your journey. Otherwise, it would have not been there. It's that simple. You wrote the manual up there before you came down here, and you had a contract with every single person, so-called good or bad, that came into your life. Why? Because they had to deliver a lesson and a message and a journey which you signed up for. Don't remain there. It's kind of like staying in grade 1 because I know it, so I don't want to go to grade 2. It doesn't help. I hope you stop seeing all the good stuff in other people only and start appreciating everything about yourself. We are always nicer to the world, even the people we don't like, than we are to ourselves. Everybody is like, you're fabulous, you're beautiful, you're wonderful, you're talented. And then we stand in front of the mirror and we go like, oh, too short, too tall, too fat, too thin, too great, too stupid, not too successful. That's how we talk to ourselves. But even people we don't know, we're nicer to. We've got to bring that back home. I hope you can see that with choosing yourself, you choose the entire universe. Because the universe has already chosen you. You're not here by oopsie. We shouldn't have put Kate here or John here or Mary here. No, there's no mistakes. There's no mistakes. And I hope you choose to fall madly in love with yourself, warts and all, and treat and appreciate yourself like the immeasurable treasure that you really are, but just haven't seen or looked at for a while. You are love. You are light. You are enough. You are source. You are the purest form of energy, and you are indispensable. For only you can be you. And it took exactly you so this universe can be in balance. Otherwise you wouldn't be here. It's that simple. It's not all that complicated. It's this brain of ours that runs away with things and adds on and gets a bit fuzzled. So I hope that I didn't go over time again, which I'm not. Oh, I did. Okay. So start celebrating yourself, nurturing yourself, for by choosing you. You are choosing all there ever has been, all there is, and all there will ever be. Yes, you are just that incredibly important. Make 2019 a daily reminder of that, and make sure that every second of it, you are in that second and you're full of yourself. And just the last few sentences here to finish off with a little write-up by Jeff Brown. That we are here means we are blessed. No need to look for your blessings out there. They live at the heart of your every breath. If we are here, we are wanted and we needed to be here. If we are here, we do have a role to play. If we are here, we have a place in this madhouse of delights. That we are here means that we are blessed. Thanks so much.